And the Heat now at the team foul limit. The Sixers, for their part in the penalty, a rather unusual pitch.
No, these aren't 2K glitches. And this is definitely not how a number one pick should shoot the basketball, right? Wrong. These are the real shooting forms of Markelle Fultz, a player who the Sixers traded up for and drafted first overall. But before he even played a second, a Sixers staffer complained, "This isn't the kid we drafted. How does the best college star forget how to shoot?" Was it his personal trainer? His overprotective mother? Was it Chick-Fil-A? Actually, yeah, all three were involved. In a mere matter of months, he had transformed from a college superstar to not being worth a starting role. Draft busts are common, but rarely have we seen such a drastic drop-off before he'd even see any NBA action. So what happened? This is a ClutchPoints original documentary on Markelle Fultz's quick descent from being the number one pick to a potential bust. At 6'4", Markelle Fultz was a dynamic guard who had it all: an explosive first step, elite playmaking, and a reliable jump shot. One GM, though, wasn't sold. Danny Ainge, the Celtics general manager, was one of the few who actually believed Duke forward Jason Tatum was the better player. Holding the third pick, Sixers GM Brian Colangelo saw Fultz as not just the best player, but a perfect superglue alongside Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. He saw an opportunity to complete the process. So Colangelo traded picks with Ainge, and the Sixers took over the number one spot. Markelle Fultz was headed to Philly, but his trouble started right away. In the 2017 Summer League, Fultz sprained his ankle, but still wanting to play, he would stand on the sidelines and find strange ways to shoot off of 1 foot. The new habits might have stuck. When he was cleared to play, his release point was noticeably lower than it was in college. Going into his rookie season, Fultz's shot was a far cry from the one that had destroyed college defenders just a few months ago. But outside of the minor injury, one major factor was that there was a lot of noise in Fultz's personal life. There are a couple key people involved here. The first is Keith Williams, Fultz's longtime mentor, father figure, and personal trainer. Years ago, Williams met a promising 7-year-old Fultz and became his personal trainer. He took Markelle under his wing over the years. The second is Fultz's mother, a guardian who often wanted to take control of her son's life. She was protective of him and wanted to keep him away from bad influences. Her and Williams were at each other's throats. One night before the season started, Fultz argued with his mom about buying a new car. Afterwards, Fultz retreated to the gym where he met with Williams. He shot the ball worse than he had in weeks, Williams recalled. He could instantly see the emotional toll making an impact on Fultz's shot. When Fultz moved into a new house before the season began, his mother wanted to keep control over her son's life. She called him dozens of times a day. She installed security cameras throughout his house and would often watch what he was doing. She would criticize him for having girls over. She would listen in on conversations and then call him to talk about a comment he'd made. She even had issues with the neighbors. When Fultz moved in, his neighbors brought over Chick-Fil-A to welcome him, which he loved. But his mother didn't share his enthusiasm. She told Kenneth Tappan, Fultz's housemate, to go door to door and put flyers in their neighbors' mailboxes, telling them not to bother her son anymore. Tappan was hesitant, and in the end, he was forced to move out. Both Fultz's mother and Keith Williams came over to Markelle's house that night and got into a heated argument. Fultz had had enough and ran out of the house. He said, "The money did all this. I don't want this no more. You should have left me in college." The damaging drama infected Fultz's play on the court. In a practice before the season, Fultz was again shooting with terrible form and a big hitch in his shot. Sixers coach Brett Brown asked Keith Williams what was going on. The issue, Williams told him, was mental. When training camp started, the press got wind of Fultz's deteriorating shot. Coach Brown decided to throw Williams under the bus. Markelle has made some personal adjustments since we last saw him in Vegas, Brown told reporters. "We've done stuff with him, but really, he's been with his personal trainer over the month of August and since Summer League ended." it was only the start of tensions between the two sides. Meanwhile, Fultz looked like he was trying out a million new ways to shoot. In a preseason game, he tipped the ball back and forth between his fingertips before shooting a free throw a la Shaq. His agent, Raymond Brothers, played the injury angle. Brothers told reporters that Fultz had a shoulder injury and literally couldn't raise his arms to shoot a basketball. But Brian Colangelo and Brett Brown told a different story. They insisted there was nothing physically wrong with Markelle, and he had chosen to change his shot. It got to the point where Keith Williams went on a radio talk show to blatantly call out Colangelo for lying. The Sixers declared Fultz out indefinitely soon after. As the media was still trying to figure out what was wrong, a Sixers game in February blew the story wide open. Fultz was interviewed on the nationally televised game without the Sixers knowing about it. It was announced in-game that Fultz had a case of scapular dyskinesis, which caused neck and shoulder pain. It's very frustrating. It's been a long journey just trying to relearn it, Fultz said on the TNT broadcast, basically admitting he had forgotten how to shoot. Over the rest of the season, the Sixers and Williams continued in their back-and-forth blame game. Williams did his best to defend himself, but in the end, he was pushed out of Fultz's inner circle. Markelle instead started working with Drew Hanlon, a well-known NBA skills trainer. Hanlon believed Fultz just had a case of the yips, and that his shot would be perfect by the end of summer. Fultz had supposedly gotten up about 150,000 shots over that summer. Heading into the 2018-19 season, there was hope. But a couple of months in, that was quickly shot down. In December, Fultz actually pump faked before shooting a free throw. He said afterwards the ball slipped. But footage of Fultz in practice saw him shooting with that same strange hitch in his shot. A couple of weeks later, he was diagnosed with thoracic outlet syndrome, which was a nerve problem between the shoulder and the neck. His agent, Raymond Brothers, tried to set the issue to rest. People were saying it was a mental problem, and it's not. There's no way you're the number one pick in the world and all of a sudden you aren't able to consistently raise your arms to shoot. Now we have the answer to that problem. Fultz was declared out for 3 to 6 weeks and underwent physical therapy on his shoulder. The Sixers, though, gave up on him. In February 2019, they shipped him off to the Orlando Magic for Jonathan Simmons and 2 draft picks. But the next season with the Magic, Fultz had seemingly turned a corner. Remember, he was the number one pick for a reason. His strengths in college were obvious. He had an unmatched combination of athleticism, handle, and understanding of the pick and roll. Despite being able to shoot threes better than free throws, Fultz undoubtedly had the most mature and polished game for a 19-year-old at the time. In Orlando, away from the drama of the process, Fultz averaged 12 points and 5 assists a game in his first season with the Magic, both career highs. His shoulder seemed to be doing a lot better. The reasons why he was drafted started to show. And finally, Magic Fultz can get his shot at stardom.